Hey friends, it's Mrs. Walker. For our lesson today, we're going to continue measuring objects. So our learning goal says I can measure objects using inch rulers and yardsticks. So the materials that you'll need for this lesson are your inch ruler that we made from the previous lesson. You'll need a yardstick. If you don't have a yardstick, that's absolutely okay. A yardstick is about 3 rulers pushed together. Okay, so if you had to use that, you could do it that way. And then you're going to need your problem set. If you don't have your problem set, I'm actually going to show pictures of the problem set throughout the lesson. So that is absolutely okay as well. All right, so today you're going to complete the problem set. Your problem set has 5 centers to complete. You will not be rotating through the centers to complete your problem set though. I'll explain how to complete each center and then you'll get to do some measuring. So you guys got this, you could do it. So for center 1, here's what it would have on your problem set. Okay, you're measuring and comparing shin lengths. So you're going to choose a measuring unit. I've already chosen for you for this one, just so I can give you some measurements. Because you might not have 6 people around to measure with. So I gave you 4 measurements. Nikki is 11 inches. John is 13 inches for the length of their shin. Allie is 8 inches and Duncan is 7 inches. You're going to find 2 other people to measure and one of them can be yourself. So really, you just need a second person to measure. You're going to add that to the chart, okay? Now, notice up here, it's giving you a picture of what is your shin, okay? So your shin is from the top of your foot to the bottom of your knee. Okay, you need to make sure that you're measuring the same points on each person. Otherwise, your measurements are not going to be accurate. Okay. Also, don't forget to answer this question where it talks about what is the difference in length between the longest and the shortest. And you have to write a number sentence for that. So just find a blank spot on the paper and fill that in. Okay. All right, so that is center 1. Center 2 is comparing lengths to a yardstick. Now, remember I said 1 yardstick equals 3 rulers put together. So if you don't have a yardstick, you can just think about how long 3 of your rulers are. Okay, for this one, you're actually just going to be estimating. So in this part on the left that I have in red here, you are going to fill in more than, less than, or about the same length as. So the length of you would say the length of a book is more than, less than, or about the same length as a yardstick, which is 3 rulers. Okay, so you would fill in those blanks. Then over in this chart, you're actually going to measure the object with the yardstick and record the measurement on the chart. Now, do the best you can with your measurements if you don't have a yardstick with using your ruler. Okay, so don't worry, it's okay if they're not perfect. Just give it your best try. Okay, and then don't forget to answer the question on the bottom where it says, what is the length of 4 student desks pushed together with no gaps? So you could think about that as maybe 4 chairs pushed together that you have at your house, or just push together 4 objects and label what the objects are. So as we look at your paper, we'll know what you're measuring. All right, so center 3 is you're going to choose units to measure objects. So you're going to name 4 objects in your house instead of your classroom, and you're going to circle which unit you would use to measure each item. So would you, like, let's say I'm going to measure the remote control for my TV. So I would write remote in the object column, and then I would actually have to measure that remote. Now, I would not use feet or yards for that because it's too small, so I would use inches. Okay, so I would suggest finding objects that you can complete the center with using inches and feet, since you probably don't have a yardstick lying around. And then remember that 1 foot is 12 inches, so that's where that feet comes from. Okay, so you do not have to use yards for this. All right, so that's center 3. Center 4 looks like this. We're going to find some benchmarks. So look around the room to find 2 or 3 objects for each benchmark length. Write each object in the chart and record the exact length. Okay, so benchmark objects should be about the same length as the given measurement. So if I'm looking for inches, I'm not going to say my pencil because my pencil is larger than 1 inch. I'm looking for 3 objects that are about 1 inch. That's what's going to go in this whole column. Okay, so 3 different things. And then in the foot, I'm thinking of 3 things that are about 1 foot, which is the length of your whole ruler. Okay, so for this one, I wouldn't pick a quarter, okay, because that's not about the length of a ruler. Okay, and then for this last one, you want to come up with objects that are about a yard, 3 of them. So think about what could be about 3 rulers put together. So I know most of you don't have a yardstick, and that's okay. Just do your best with this part. Okay, so that's center 4. All right, center 5 is your last one, and it looks like this. You're going to choose a tool to measure. So you're going to circle the tool used to measure each object. Then measure and record the length in the chart, and then circle the unit. So the first one is the length of the rug. So find any rug that you have in your house. It's probably would be like a larger rug. Okay, maybe not one that sits right by a door. Okay, so a larger rug. And would you use your measurement tool? Would you use a 12-inch ruler or a yardstick? Circle one of those, and then you're going to measure. Would you measure in inches or feet? And then you would circle those as well. And you're going to do the same thing for those different objects that are there for you. Now, if you don't have a textbook at home, that's like your math book. If you don't have a math book, just grab a book. Okay, you have a pencil probably. The length of a chalkboard. You probably don't have a chalkboard at your house. I don't either, so that's okay. So one of the other things you could measure for that is your TV. Okay, if you wanted to measure something that's a little bit larger, you could measure your TV. And then a pink eraser, which is normally like those little erasers that we can erase with. If you don't have one of those, just choose another object that you want to measure. So cross off pink eraser and write in the other measure or object that you would measure. Okay, and then don't forget to answer that question at the bottom. Okay, all right, so friends, for all of these parts of the center, if you have your problem set, you can use that to go through. If you don't have your problem set, you need to rewind back through the video to find center 1, and you would write that stuff down on a piece of paper. Okay, just your measurements. You don't have to write down everything that's on the screen. Just label it as center 1. Okay, and then you would go to label center 2 and write down your measurements and such for what it's asked for that one. Okay. All right, so you guys got this. You guys are going to do a great job measuring objects using inches, feet, and yards. Please head back on over to the module to see what you need to complete for your independent practice. As always, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'd be more than happy to help. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye, friends!